What happens to the spirits who are forgotten? The ones whose descendants moved away, whose shrines crumbled, whose names were erased from family lines? We think they simply cease to exist. But exile is not the same as death. The forgotten spirits wander, homeless, hungry, desperate for someone to remember them. This is the story of a woman who gave them a home, who planted a forest with her own hands, creating a sanctuary for the dispossessed. But a sanctuary is still a prison. And the imprisoned, given time, always find a way to want more. Dakarai was not always alone. She had been born in the village of Nyambu, a thriving community at the edge of a great forest. But the forest was cut down, first for timber, then for farms, then for nothing at all, just greed wearing the mask of progress. The spirits who had lived in those trees for centuries were driven out. They had nowhere to go. No one to remember them. The village prospered for a time. But prosperity built on destruction is a house with no foundation. Crops failed. Children sickened. The elders whispered that the displaced spirits were angry, wandering, causing chaos wherever they drifted. But no one knew how to call them back. Dakarai's own family was shattered by the chaos. Her parents, her siblings, lost one by one to the strange misfortunes that plagued Nyambu. By the time she was 25, she was the last of her line. And she had heard the spirits calling in her dreams. Not with words. With longing. She left the village one morning with nothing but a sack of seeds and a burning certainty. She walked to the edge of the wasteland where the forest once stood. She knelt. She planted. The first seed took root immediately, too fast, too strong. Within hours, a sapling stood where she had planted. By morning, it was a tree. And from its bark, a face emerged. Faint. Grateful. "Thank you," it whispered. "We remember you." Dakarai should have been terrified. Instead, she wept with joy. She had found her purpose. Dakarai planted for years. Alone. Unstoppable. The forest grew around her like a living thing reaching for the sky. Each tree she planted housed a spirit, some she recognized from her childhood, others ancient beyond measure, their faces etched into bark, their voices rustling in leaves. The people of Nyambu heard what she was doing. Some mocked her, the crazy tree woman. Others grew afraid. A forest where spirits live is not a safe place. It is a place of rules. Of debts. Of memories that should stay buried. An elder named Taj, one of the few who remembered the old ways, came to find her. He found Dakarai deep in the growing woods, her hands black with soil, her eyes bright with something that looked like fever. "Dakarai," he said gently, "you are doing a holy thing. But holy things have holy costs. These spirits were exiled for a reason. Not all of them were peaceful when they lived in the trees. Some were cruel. Some were vengeful. You are giving them all a home, the good and the terrible alike." Dakarai shook her head. "They are homeless, Taj. That is all I need to know." Taj sighed. "Then let me tell you what you are creating. A forest of spirits is not just a sanctuary. It is a kingdom. And kingdoms need rulers. One of these spirits will grow stronger than the others. One will claim dominion. And when that happens, it will want more than just a tree. It will want you." Dakarai laughed. Not cruelly, but with the certainty of someone who has already lost everything. "I have nothing left to give." Taj looked at the saplings around them, at the faint faces already forming in their bark. "That's what worries me," he said. "The ones with nothing to lose are the easiest to take." He left. Dakarai kept planting. The forest grew for decades. Dakarai aged, but slowly, as if the trees shared their lifespan with her. Her hair grayed, her skin wrinkled, but her hands never stopped planting. The forest became legendary. Travelers spoke of it with awe and fear. Nyambu, once dying, found new life at the forest's edge. Tourism, reverence, a fragile prosperity built on the strange woods and the strange woman who made them. But Taja's warning came true. The spirits, once grateful for any home, began to compete. The older trees housed stronger spirits, and they pushed against the younger ones, claiming more light, more space, more influence. A hierarchy formed. And at the top, in the oldest, largest tree, the first one Dakarai had planted, sat a spirit named Hamidi. Hamidi had been a king in life, centuries ago. A tyrant. A man who had crushed his enemies and fed them to his dogs. In death, he had been exiled from the spirit world itself, condemned to wander until his name was forgotten. Dakarai's tree had given him a home. And now he wanted more. He began to speak to Dakarai in her dreams. Not with gratitude, with demands. You planted me. You gave me form. You are my mother, in a way. And a mother owes her child everything. Dakarai woke trembling. She went to Hamidi's tree, placed her hand on its massive trunk. What do you want? The bark rippled. A face emerged, cruel, handsome, ancient. I want what I always wanted. Dominion. The other spirits fear me. They should. But they have their own trees, their own territories. I cannot rule them from one trunk. I need to spread. I need to grow. You have the biggest tree in the forest. Trees die, Dakarai. Even this one, eventually. I need something permanent. Something that will never rot, never fall, never forget me. Dakarai's blood ran cold. What? Hamidi's face smiled, a terrible, slow smile. You. Hamidi's demand was simple. Dakarai must become his permanent vessel. Not dead, that would be too quick. Not possessed, that would be too temporary. She must be absorbed. Rooted. Made part of the forest forever, her body becoming a living shrine, her spirit joining the ranks of the trees, eternally under his dominion. In return, he would ensure the forest's protection. No invader would dare cut a single branch. No spirit would rebel. Perfect order. Eternal peace. Dakarai refused. The forest changed that night. The trees that had whispered gratitude now whispered pressure. The spirits, loyal to Hamidi or simply afraid, turned their collective will on their creator. The air grew heavy. The paths Dakarai had walked for decades became mazes, leading her in circles. The seedlings she tried to plant withered before they broke soil. Hamidi was patient. He had centuries. He could wait. Dakarai, desperate, sought out the one person who might help. Taja's granddaughter, Tamala, who had inherited his knowledge of the old ways. Tamala came to the forest's edge but refused to enter. Even from outside, she could feel the weight of Hamidi's presence. Auntie, she called, the village's term of respect for the forest woman. You cannot fight him alone. He is too old, too strong. And he has turned the others against you. Dakarai, gaunt and tired, stood at the tree-line. Then what do I do? Leave? Abandon them? Tamala shook her head. Not abandon. Redirect. Hamidi wants permanence. Give it to him, but on your terms. Plant a tree that will never die. Not a physical tree, a covenant tree. A tree made of promises, not wood. Bind him to that instead of to you. Dakarai understood. It was a gamble. A covenant tree, properly made, could hold a spirit forever, but only if the spirit agreed to be bound. And Hamidi would never agree. Unless he thought it was his idea. Dakarai went to Hamidi's tree one last time. She appeared broken, defeated. Which, by now, she almost was. "You win," she whispered. "I will give you what you want. But not my body. Something better. Something eternal." Hamidi's face emerged, curious. "What?" "A covenant tree. A tree made not of wood but of memory. Every spirit in this forest will contribute a piece of themselves, a root, a branch, a leaf made of their essence. It will stand at the forest's heart, impervious to time, immune to decay. You will be its core. Its ruler. Forever." Hamidi was silent, considering. "And you?" "I will tend it. Guard it. Be its keeper. Not your vessel, your priestess. You get eternity. I get purpose. The others get protection. Everyone wins." Hamidi laughed, a sound like rocks grinding. "You think I don't see the trap? A covenant tree binds me as much as it empowers me. I cannot leave it. Cannot grow beyond it." Dakarai met his ancient eyes. "You cannot grow beyond it anyway. Not without destroying everything you want to rule. This way, you rule forever. Isn't that enough?" It was a masterful argument. Hamidi, for all his age and cunning, was still a tyrant, and tyrants always want more. But even tyrants can be persuaded that forever is better than risky. He agreed. The covenant tree was planted at the forest's heart. Every spirit contributed. Dakarai wove their offerings together with songs, with soil, with her own blood. The tree grew in a single night, massive, luminous, its leaves shimmering with 100 different greens, its roots sinking deeper than any mortal tree. Hamidi moved into it. His old tree crumbled to dust. And for a moment, a single, glorious moment, Dakarai was free. But freedom, in a forest of spirits, is never permanent. The covenant tree stood. Hamidi was bound. But the other spirits, now permanently linked to him through the tree, grew restless. They had given pieces of themselves. They wanted something back. And they looked at Dakarai, their creator, their keeper, their debtor, with hungry eyes. The spirits did not attack. They did not demand. They simply waited. And in their waiting, they drained. The forest grew dim. The leaves lost their luster. The animals fled. Dakarai felt the life seeping out of the land, pulled into the covenant tree to feed the spirit's endless, quiet hunger. Tamala came again, this time brave enough to enter the forest. She found Dakarai at the covenant tree, her back against its trunk, her eyes closed. "Auntie, you have to leave. The spirits are feeding on you. On the forest. On everything." Dakarai opened her eyes. They were calm. Peaceful. "I know." "Then come." "I can't." Dakarai smiled, and for a moment, she looked young again, the girl who had first planted a seed in barren ground. "I planted this forest. I gave these spirits a home. That makes me responsible for them." Responsible doesn't mean powerful. It means present. I will stay. I will be their anchor. Their reminder that someone remembers. Tamala wept. "You'll die here." Dakarai shook her head. "No. I'll become part of it. Like them. But different. I'll be the one who chose to stay. That choice matters. It always matters." She pressed herself against the covenant tree. Its roots, gentle this time, wound around her ankles, her waist, her wrists. Not imprisoning, embracing. Tamala watched as Dakarai's body slowly merged with the tree. Not consumed, incorporated. Her face remained visible in the bark, peaceful, watching. Her arms became branches. Her hair, leaves. The forest brightened. The spirits quieted. The covenant held. And at the forest's heart, a woman-shaped tree stands to this day. Travelers who know the story leave offerings at its base, seeds, water, songs. And sometimes, on quiet nights, they hear her voice, soft as rustling leaves, thanking them for remembering. Dakarai gave the exiled spirits a home. In return, they gave her an eternity she never asked for. Her story teaches us that compassion without boundaries is not kindness, it is self-sacrifice. And self-sacrifice, offered freely, can become a prison as surely as any cage. The spirits needed a home. They got one. But homes require caretakers. And caretakers, once chosen, can never leave. But what do you think? Was Dakarai's fate a tragedy, or a fulfillment of her life's purpose? Could she have set boundaries with the spirits, or was she doomed from the moment she planted the first seed? And what would you do if the things you created began to demand a piece of you in return? Let me know in the comments below. The covenant tree still stands. Dakarai still watches. And in other barren places, other lonely souls are planting seeds, unaware of what they might grow. If tales of creation and its costs haunt you, you cannot miss the friendship between a crocodile and a monkey prevented a war between their kinds. The link is on the screen right now. Don't forget to subscribe for more original, chilling tales from the Safari of Tales. We plant stories that grow in the dark. Until next time. Be careful what you give a home.